Free will is an illusion. What if every decision you make isn't truly yours, but shaped by forces you can't see? How many times have you felt trapped by circumstances, only to later question if your choices were really your own? Today, we challenge the conventional belief of free will and open the door to a deeper exploration of how hidden influences may be steering your life. While society teaches us that our choices are the result of pure free will, the reality is far more complex. How many times have you wondered why, despite feeling in control, external factors seem to dictate your outcomes? This stark contrast between the ideal of complete autonomy and the influence of subconscious forces creates a conflict, challenging the very core of what we believe about our own decision-making. Philosophers like David Hume and modern neuroscientists have long questioned the notion of absolute free will. Hume argued that our choices are merely the outcomes of a long chain of cause and effect, while contemporary research supports the idea that our brains often decide before we become aware. By examining these groundbreaking perspectives, we gain a framework that challenges traditional morality and invites us to reconsider the nature of our freedom. Imagine a world where every decision you make feels uniquely yours, even though deep down, a web of unseen influences is at work. In this segment, we delve further into the illusion of free will by examining the interplay between predetermined factors and the conscious choices we so cherish. Philosophers, neuroscientists, and psychologists have all challenged the notion that free will is absolute. How many times have you paused, questioning whether the choices you celebrate as entirely personal were, in fact, the inevitable outcomes of circumstances beyond your control? Consider the influence of your upbringing, culture, and even your genetic predispositions. From the moment you were born, a complex network of factors began shaping your path, deciding not only who you become, but how you respond to every twist and turn in life. Just as a river is guided by the contours of its bed, your choices are channeled by forces you might not even notice. Repeatedly, we ask ourselves, how many times have you felt the pull of destiny when every option seemed preordained? The answer may lie in the hidden mechanics of your brain. Modern neuroscience has taken us a long way in understanding these mechanics. Experiments by scientists such as Benjamin Libet revealed that our brains often register a decision milliseconds before we become consciously aware of it. This startling evidence suggests that what we perceive as a free choice might just be the final stage of a long chain reaction, a cascade of neural events set in motion by factors both internal and external. And yet, despite this revelation, our subjective experience remains one of freedom and deliberate choice. The concept of determinism, championed by philosophers like David Hume, argues that every effect has a cause. In this view, every decision you make is the inevitable result of prior causes, a domino effect of experiences, influences, and inherited tendencies. How many times have you chosen a path only to later realize that every step seemed foregone? This deterministic lens challenges the core of what we believe about autonomy and self-governance. Yet, there is an intriguing paradox at play. While many aspects of our decision-making process are determined by factors beyond our control, the awareness of these influences can itself be a source of empowerment. By understanding the mechanisms that drive our behavior, whether it's the subtle biases encoded in our subconscious or the powerful sway of societal norms, we gain the potential to reclaim some measure of agency. Imagine learning to recognize the puppet strings that guide your actions. In doing so, you might begin to cut them one by one, liberating yourself from the grip of fate. Let's explore a powerful metaphor. Picture your life as a game of cards. At first glance, each hand may seem random, yet closer inspection reveals that the deck is loaded by hidden rules. Each card dealt represents a decision, influenced by the circumstances and forces that preceded it. How many times have you played your hand, only to feel that the game was rigged from the start? Recognizing this can be both humbling and liberating. Once you see that the rules are not as fixed as they seem, you can start to play more strategically, learning when to hold, when to fold, and when to bluff the inevitable. At the heart of this discussion is the idea that our perception of free will might be an adaptive illusion, a necessary one that allows us to function, to feel responsible, and to pursue our dreams. But what if we could use this knowledge to our advantage? What if, by understanding the limits of our autonomy, we could refine our decision-making process, introducing more deliberation and mindfulness into each choice? In essence, the very illusion of free will becomes a tool, a framework within which we can learn to balance determinism with conscious intervention. As we continue to expand on these themes, consider the role of self-reflection. It's in those quiet moments of introspection that we can begin to discern the hidden patterns influencing our behavior. How often do you pause before reacting? How often do you consider whether a choice is truly your own, or if it's merely the next step in a predetermined script? This is where the art of mindful decision-making comes into play, a process that involves questioning, analyzing, and then consciously choosing a path that aligns with your true values, despite the pull of external forces. Moreover, the exploration of free will opens up deeper inquiries about responsibility and morality. If our choices are, in part, the product of forces beyond our control, how should we hold ourselves accountable? This question has profound implications for everything from personal growth to the justice system. It challenges us to reconsider the balance between empathy and judgment, between understanding and holding others to account. By expanding on these themes, we not only gain insight into the human condition, but also uncover ways to harness our awareness for positive change. Ultimately, this journey isn't about abandoning the notion of free will entirely. It's about recognizing its limitations and using that insight to cultivate a more reflective, empowered life. When we acknowledge the invisible forces that shape our decisions, we can start to question them, challenge them, and perhaps even reshape our destiny. The path forward is not to resign ourselves to a predetermined fate, but to engage actively with the process of choice. How many times will you let the illusion define you? And how many times will you seize the chance to redefine it on your own terms? In summary, while the illusion of free will might suggest that our choices are merely the outcomes of preceding causes, it also offers us a unique opportunity. The chance to become more aware, more deliberate, and ultimately more free. Embrace the paradox, challenge the status quo, and begin to see that true agency lies not in the fantasy of absolute freedom, but in the power of conscious, mindful choice. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the illusion of free will, where we uncovered how unseen forces shape our decisions. Remember, this isn't a call to abandon your inherent goodness. It's an invitation to augment it with strategic acumen. Every choice you make is an opportunity to reclaim your agency, to transform external influences into a catalyst for empowerment. Now is the time to take actionable steps. Start with small adjustments. Pause, reflect, and choose deliberately. Ask yourself, how can I use this awareness to shape my destiny? If you're ready to embrace this shift, leave the phrase "conscious choice" in the comments below. Your voice fuels our community and sparks collective growth. In conclusion, true freedom lies not in the fantasy of total independence, but in the balance between accepting influence and actively directing your life. Transform awareness into action, and let every choice propel you toward a more powerful, authentic existence. The journey to empowerment starts now. Seize the moment and redefine your destiny.